It's now 23rd of July and I started going to the gym again, and halfway through a session I got prevented by doing it by officers de-relativising or relativising power. I had no power whatsoever to do anything because they've internalised it. So I started a session, started trying to work out and whatever else, and officers have used the institutionalisation process and the mortification of self, whilst my entire life is internalised in an institutional self, and they're preventing me from doing it by de-relativising power or de-relativising the strength, the drive to do this. It means you end up with no power to do it whatsoever, completely mindless. It's a bit like when somebody's lazy and they don't want to do stuff and whatever else. This is across the country. They know they've got to do it, they've got full capabilities of doing it, and they can't really figure out why it's not happening, or why these things are happening, or why it's not developing, or why they feel as though they're being prevented and they've got a serious sense of injustice. It's the mass control that's on you that's preventing you from doing this. You're being prevented from doing it because you've had your power interned, and apparently that's what they do. When you find out it's a random probation officer or constable that's had this involvement, that's had this intervention, you probably wouldn't be happy. But yeah, anyway, to conclude, as of the 23rd of July, I started going to the gym again. Last night I had a fairly good session, to be fair. But tonight, halfway through this session, or a third through the session, officers have obviously left the process on, rather tonight being on it, or they've left it on last week, and it's de-relativised my power halfway through a session, which is what they do regular. They'll say it's to prevent me from progressing, or for whatever, they'll rationalise it somehow by saying they've got to do it, it's their job, it's a priority, they do it, they'll justify it with a middle class label or rationalisation. They've got to do it to prevent him from progressing, or they've got to do it to show that you're mentally ill, or you're prevented somehow from doing it yourself. It's a load of shit, a load of rubbish. They do it to torture you and prevent you from getting a life, and they make it stopping you getting a life as their job. It's an arrestable crime, I'm afraid, and they're not being arrested for it. But yeah, to conclude halfway through a session, great session last night in the gym now that I'm back in there, but tonight, not a chance, as I missed 2 weeks. They think this is fantastic doing stuff like this, so